Alrighty. Part 2 of whatever this is going to be called. I kind of titled it A Prepper with No Bug Out Location is not a prepper planning to survive. I might change that, or I might leave it, whatever. So, wanted to leave this up for a few minutes. Maybe it'll pick it up as a thumbnail. I can go into Creator Studio and change it, customize it, whatever, but a lot of times I don't do that. So anyway, this is your bug out location, no matter where you live, basically, in my opinion. In my humble opinion. All right, I'll be honest. In my not so humble opinion, whatever. In my extremely prejudiced, extremely well-read and researched opinion, based on history, geography, science, mathematics, astronomy, astrology in the sense of, the heavens, the stars in the heavens, chemistry, language, etc., etc., etc. Because basically everything says the same thing. That's amazing to me. Not amazing, but it's just it's fascinating that everything, all disciplines, point to one answer a lot of times, and that's the case here. I mean, from the bottom corner there, where you see the number 199, that bottom southern corner of the OzArk Plateau, southeastern corner, let's call it. Draw a line from that through the northwestern corner, the northern corner. It goes right to Turtle Mountain in Minnesota and Canada. What does that mean? I don't know. But it's interesting. That's what the author of Noah's Ark, Discovering the Science Behind Man's Oldest Mystery said. Because I told him, I said, have you noticed that the OzArk Plateau is two facing 120-degree arcs of angle? Like, all these arcs, supposedly arcs of angle that he discovered around the world, on 4 continents, 4 of the 5 continents, have a very precise 120-degree angle. They are artificially constructed. I believe that much. I don't know about the rest of his conjecture that it was Noah or some operation directed by Noah. We don't know. We're never going to know. Talked about that before. But, fact, they are artificially built. This one, however, was not artificially built. It was built by the same person that created the earth. And it was designed and created by that person that created the earth as a perfect bug out location. So, good job. The cat.
The reason why I did that, my dad asked me to, because she spilled over his drink.
Oh no, that's bad. That's really bad. The cat was evicted. So, be that as it may, this is not artificial. It's, the center, east to west of the craton, center of the floating arc. The craton is an arc. It's been called the largest rock on the planet, on the plane of Earth. From mid-Texas, between Dallas-Fort Worth, to the island, continent, whatever you want to call it, of Greenland. Okay, so moving right along. So if you're coming from any region of the country, come to the point that's nearest to you. If you're coming from the east, get west of the Mississippi if you're coming from the west. Get into the OzArk Plateau coming from the south. Get north of the Arkansas River. They will be borders. Get south of the Missouri River if you're coming from the north. Okay, those are your overall parameters. Those are going to be borders, so do not be outside of the borders if you can help it. And I'm looking ahead. I know. Tell me that a million times. I know. I've heard it before, pal. So, all right, moving right along. So I was going to continue with the article that I started. So the fact is, high-level government, I'm picking up at the bottom paragraph, partway through there. The fact is, high-level U.S. government officials of every branch, U.S. Special Forces, retired Pentagon officials, have been moving to the Ozarks for decades now. Would it not just make sense that they might know something the rest of us are not clued into? If you look at the training and background of the thousands of people like Jesse Ventura, he was UWD, that's underwater demolition, like before Navy SEALs were started. And John Moore, you should realize that listening to them might be wiser than listening to businessmen, pastors, and authors who have not been privy to whatever insider info Moore, Ventura et al. Have had access to. You specifically mentioned U.S. Navy, and I repeatedly hear that U.S. Navy SEALs have retired here, not Army Rangers, Army Intelligence, etc. So maybe that has something to do with knowing something about the future ocean levels, etc. So let's start there, i.e. with ocean levels. General information on the Ozark Plateau and U.S. Interior Highlands. The Ozark Plateaus are part of what is called the U.S. Interior Highlands. The U.S. Interior Highlands, this is from Wikipedia, read the article, excellent article, is a mountainous region spanning eastern Oklahoma, western and northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, southwestern Missouri basically, but most of southern Missouri, and the extreme southeast corner of Kansas. The name is designated by the United States Geological Survey to refer to the combined mountainous region of the Ozarks and Ouachita Mountains. It looks like Ouachita, but it's Ouachita, which form a distinct physiographic division. It is the only major highland region between the Rocky Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains in the United States. I will interject here just a little side note from the book There Is No Death by Sarah Manette. I was corrected by a subscriber, sorry. Manet, French. Not, anyway. Chapter 4, I See the Future. I did a video on it. I would highly recommend that you watch that video, because everything that she said in that chapter is exactly what I see with my head, my brain. People have visions, they have dreams, and they go, oh yeah, I've seen that for years. Oh, you've had the same dreams and visions? No. Sorry, I agree with you. I see the same things. I see that we're going to be going out and doing search and rescue. Going to have teams, search and rescue teams. From the beginning, when I very first saw female urinary devices, FUDs or STPs, not STDs, STPs, stand to P, I was all over it. I've gotten quite a few of them, different types. Tried to hack it, tried to find something cheaper at the time. There wasn't. Now they're 45 cents a piece. There is no reason for a co-ed search and rescue team to go out without every single woman having a female urinary device so that she can pee on the tires, pee on the tree, pee in the bush like the guys do. There's a bunch of them. Whiz Freedom Whiz, something like that. Go Girl is probably the best one. I can't remember that. There's a bunch of them. One of them has as their motto, no tush in the bush. There is absolutely no reason for a woman to have to expose herself to any male persons within visible range. And that can be telescopic range. There's just no reason for it. It's stupid. So deal with it. Show up here with 100 of them, with 1,000 of them. I mean, there's going to be millions of women here. They're all going to need them. If you can buy 100, folks to buy 100 of them, buy them. 45 cents a piece. Come on, get over it. Go Girls are $10 a piece. So the cheap ones imported from China are, you know, a decent equivalent. So get them. Every woman on this earth should have one. Period. End of story. So there's a market for you. There's a business. Buy them for 45 cents. Day comes, sell them for $5 a piece. You know, $1 a piece. Whatever you feel like you need to get by on. It's a survival business. Deal with it and do something about it. Don't show up here with nothing. Salt pipes. I'll do a thing on it. Enjoy, capital NJOY. Tip topper. I was gonna screech out it before I started this, but anyway, buy salt pipes, buy nasal inhalers. You can buy them by the 100 at a time on eBay. Very inexpensive. In the event of a pandemic and you don't want to breathe stuff, you don't have to have a dust mask. Just stick 2 nasal inhalers in your nose, or get, as I did, charcoal-lined dust masks. Now, when I had my breathing issue, I tried that, and it just, with my beard and my mustache, it wasn't working. I used a handkerchief. That definitely didn't work, but it worked better than the dust mask would have. Maybe. But you can spray a dust mask with saline solution and kill diseases, you know, as they come in. All right, so back to the topic here. It is the only major highland region between the Rocky Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains. Now, bunny trail, and bunny trail. Sorry about that, Chief. Okay, so in There Is No Death and the chapter I See the Future, I will just say this briefly. She saw a huge earthquake that was the most devastating thing ever on the face of the earth. She saw nuclear war. She saw diseases. She saw an Ebola, like a blistering plague, a hemorrhagic plague like Ebola, a blistering plague like chemical warfare or something, but a plague, I believe it so was. The thing that killed more people than everything else was zombie hordes. She didn't use the word zombie, but hordes of people coming out of the cities and killing, just sweeping across the entire country, killing, and just, that's all they're doing is killing. Not stealing, not raping, pillaging, looting, just killing, mindlessly killing. Can you say zombie apocalypse? I think so. But she said that she saw points of light, 20 or 30 points of light, most in the west, only 3 or 4 in the east. East of the Mississippi, only 3 or 4 safe places. 3, maybe 4 she saw. But she was given to know, and those points of light were people who were praying. They knew something was going to happen. They had leadership. They prepared ahead of time. They had food, and they were willing to share that food. And when the time, that at some point in time, she was given to know that they would all go to a place in the mountains. If everybody from the east goes to a place in the mountains, they're going to have to go west. And if everybody from the west goes to a place in the mountains, they're going to have to go east. And the only place in between the Rockies and the Appalachian Mountains in the United States is the OzArk Plateau, the U.S. Interior Highlands. Can you remember Jesus' words, Messiah's words? When you see the things begin to happen, flee to the mountains. The Ozarks, also referred to as Ozark Mountain Country, Ozark Mountains, Ozark Plateau, are a physiographic and geological highland region of the central United States. Covers much of the southern half of Missouri and extensive portions of northwest and north-central Arkansas. The region also extends westward into northeastern Oklahoma and extreme southeastern Kansas. Although referred to as the Ozark Mountains, the region is actually a high and deeply dissected plateau, i.e. it is a single mountain which has been split. in two, one part to the north and one part to the south. This is a most strange and peculiar thing, as it is the only mountain range, quote unquote, in parentheses, the only mountain, and ancient Indian tribes say that it was indeed once a mountain, a single mountain, but that it was split. The Ouachita Mountains are on the south and the Ozarks are on the north. It's split by the very deeply and very deep chasm of the Arkansas River Valley. It's the only place on the planet, the only mountain on the entire planet with a valley running east and west, large enough to be visible from space, if it existed. Okay, from my altitude. Geologically, the area is a broad dome around the St. Francis Mountains. They are the peak of the dome. The Ozark Highland area, covering nearly 47,000 square miles, is by far the most extensive mountainous region between the Appalachians and the Rocky Mountains. Together, the Ozarks and the Ouachita Mountains form an area known as the Ugos Interior Highlands, sometimes referred to collectively. For example, the ecoregion called Ozark Mountain Forest includes the Ouachita Mountains, although the Arkansas River Valley and the Ouachitas, both south of the Boston Mountains, are not usually considered part of the Ozarks. The Ozarks Highland region comprises the southern half of Missouri, northern third of Arkansas, small fraction of northeastern Oklahoma, and southeastern Kansas, which geographers generally delimit by rivers. The Missouri on the north, Mississippi on the east, Grand on the southeast, Arkansas on the south. Geographic characteristics that distinguish the Ozarks as a region include the general ruggedness and vertical topography and the relative age of surface rocks being older than those in adjoining areas. Now, isn't that interesting? Ancient hills. And here's a bit about it. The people of the Ozarks are historically unaffected by national disaster. This here tale begins in the summer of that year, whatever year it was. The year don't matter. The national situation don't even matter, because even though we were smack dab in the middle of what we've been told was the Depression, folks in the Ozarks was so poor to begin with that they scarcely noticed. No, that's not right, because poverty is so relative. A better way to put it is that folks in the Ozarks still had everything they needed to subsist and endure, and they didn't want for nothing. So they didn't even know that people elsewhere all over the country was suffering from want. That's from Donald Harrington's Vance Randolph, a character in Butterfly Weed. Point being, every 40 acres here was a farm. I've been told that, and I've seen evidence of it, that there's chimneys and walls, and driving down the road that we live on, if you were to be walking along in the wintertime alongside the road, you could fall into a well between the barbed wire fence and the road. Yeah. Hand dug wells all over the place. After supper, Uncle Green began speaking of the Ozarks. Quote, "Used to be a real happy land for us outlaws," he recalled, "but for us reformed sons of bitches, no country ain't no great sight better than no other country. But I still say that whichever the country, hits the back heels that stay interesting and closest to everlasting." Charles Morrow Wilson in the Bodacious Ozarks. So, the other factor of utmost importance is the population base of similar-minded people with similar values. The people that settled these ancient mountains were from races of people known throughout all man's history as having the mindset of liberty and the resources and the wherewithal, read courage and weapons, and knowledge of how to survive, water, food, shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive, to confront and resist the one world order imperial mindset. That point, toward the bottom there, that point is where the typical survivalist may well be proven dead wrong. And I mean that absolutely, positively, utterly, completely, and totally, literally dead wrong. That great survivalist leader who lives in Wyoming brags about the fact that there are only 5 people per square mile around him. Similar is the big push to move to Montana, Idaho, northwestern Wyoming, eastern Oregon, eastern Washington, the Pacific Northwest readout states. These men show maps of satellite pics at night. This guy sent me the picture of a satellite map at night and said, "Move to where there's no lights." Move to where there's no lights. My son said, "Hey, Dad, he could go to North Korea." Using that logic, do you see the problem here? The problem is that these people see other people, in essence their neighbors, as the enemy. Clear all the trees so we can blow their blankety-blank heads off. They're your neighbors, for crying out loud. They're your protection. What is the best defense in hard times? A well-fed neighbor. Say it with me, class. The best defense in hard times is a well-fed neighbor. Write it on the chalkboard 500 times. The best defense in hard times is a well-fed neighbor. Get that lesson through your head, because if you don't, your typical survivalist will be dead wrong. They're stupid. Stupid. STOOOPID. Stupid. They may, I don't know, I can't see what it says there, but part of that little thing there, for whatever reason, they may or will pay in blood, unfortunately not all their own, for basing their entire approach to survival on absolutely nothing based in history, nothing based on geography, nothing based on military strategy or tactics, not even tactics, nothing based on common sense, and possibly, most telling, nothing based on any counsel from any sacred writings, i.e. the Bible. Duh. I'll cover part 3 and then probably end this one. The Ozarks, the greatest place on the planet for survival agriculture. It's brief. While the region has advanced technologically, the Ozarks remain a haven for biodiverse farmers and gardeners. Survival agriculture. I said to one guy from Minnesota, the Ozarks are the greatest place on earth for survival agriculture. I'm from Minnesota. We have 8-foot deep top black soil. We have awesome agriculture. I said, you live in tank country. Minnesota will be rolled over in a matter of a day or two, like Hitler ran over Poland. It's flat. And you say, flat. Minnesota is flat. Okay. Get it through your head. 5 years of applied agricultural anthropology research in different locales of the Arkansas and Missouri Ozarks reveal 3 clearly interconnected characteristics integral to traditional subsistence in the region: agroecological knowledge, diversity, and frugality. These values allowed Ozarkers of historical times to survive, and they permit contemporary hill dwellers an alternative to the industrial food system. Yeah, all of these states that are flat and have all these crops, what are the crops? One thing, corn. And in the other season, or the next season, soybeans, corn and soy, and they're both GMO. What do you got? Death. Death in a truck, death in a bag, death in a loaf of bread, death in a can. Monsanto is planning on committing holomotor on a scale that would make Stalin blush. That's what Monsanto is all about. If you're not growing your own food, if you're not trying to grow your own food, if you're not being careful about what you're eating, you're digging your own grave. So, all right, I'm going to end it there. Thank you. I'll continue this later. I just got started on it. I figured I might as well go ahead and finish it up. I've done it before, but who cares? Anybody listening, let me know. All right, thank you. This is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon. If you're listening to this, you are the remnant. All right, bye-bye.